Good afternoon, Elwood School community. For those of you who are new to our district, my name is Ken Bossert. I'm Superintendent of Schools, and I would like to provide the community a bit of an update today on some topics for focus within the district. First and foremost, I hope this message finds you healthy and safe. We certainly have been very, very pleased to welcome back so many of our students, our faculty on staff into our buildings. And now that we are 1 month into our school year, we really are settling into a nice routine. It's really great to see some typical practices back in place and some wonderful learning opportunities for our students. While we are certainly a long way from our normal, what we are establishing now is getting better and better each day. And we thank you for your collaboration, your support, and all of your attention to the necessary steps that we need to take while operating in a public school during a global pandemic. I want to give you an update on reopening. Things are going well. Our distance learning program is working as designed. We are identifying obstacles and overcoming them. Technology is never perfect. So when we identify areas for focus, we are addressing them directly. Those that take place within the school district are much easier to manage than those taking place within your homes. It is difficult to troubleshoot our off-site technology connections, but we are doing our best. And again, we thank you for your patience. And I really appreciate the parents that do reach out to us, and we are able to help you talk through concerns that are raised when the students aren't in our buildings. This part of the message I want to send directly to our students who are engaged in 100% distance learning. We miss you. We certainly understand the rationale and the reasons that parents presented to us to keep you all home full time. It's about 15% of our students are learning 100% of the time from home. We miss seeing you. We miss having you in the buildings. We miss you being able to interact with your classmates. But we understand what's happening around us. We understand what's happening in our community, our country, and on this planet. And we understand that there are conditions that make it safer for you to learn from home. We do, however, miss you. We certainly haven't forgotten you. And we do look forward to welcoming you back in the future. Talking about the future, we've been having a lot of conversations. We began at the last public board meeting of saying we need to identify different measuring points of when we can begin to open the valve a bit. And I use that metaphor of opening the valve, much like the governor talked about the reopening of New York in phases. We have to do the same for the Elwood School District. We need to keep health and safety our top priority. We're an educational institution who takes a great deal of pride in the excellence of our instructional program. However, right now, we have to keep that secondary to health and safety. We have to keep everyone healthy so they can attend school in any capacity, and our faculty and staff as well. So the processes that we have in place are with that in mind. And we are trying to do our best to keep our excellence of our instructional program, despite the limitations we are faced with, to keep everyone healthy and safe. Please note I am not wearing my mask at the moment, although I have a really nice one right here from the New York State Council of Superintendents, because I am alone in my closed office. I appreciate everyone's compliance with mask wearing and all the other restrictions that we put in. Parents, you've been wonderful partners in keeping children home when they're not feeling well. You've been wonderful partners when we've made requests for medical documentation, negative COVID testing. I will share with you that later today, you're going to get a written guidance through school messenger email from our lead nurse, Ms. Lisa McNamara, whose office is here at the middle school. We received new guidance from the New York State Department of Health in the form of a COVID toolkit. Would have been great to have in July and August, but we got it last week. And we had to measure our current practices against the toolkit. The toolkit has been posted to the reopening portion of our district website if you're interested in reviewing it yourself. But one of the things that we had to change based upon the toolkit is return to school after illness. We do require a doctor's note for students who are symptomatic with symptoms related to COVID-19. And to this point, a simple doctor's clearance for return has sufficed. New York State Department of Health has made it clear that doctors need to be a bit more specific in their return to school notes. And if they identify the illness that you've brought your child to see a physician as relating to viral infection, then a COVID test, a negative COVID test, will be required to return to school. If you listened to the governor speak last week, it became very clear that when different regions of our state become COVID-19 hotspots, as some are right now, schools will begin to require COVID testing for children to attend. I have a meeting on the calendar for Wednesday with Suffolk County Department of Health to talk about increasing our partnership with the Department of Health about around testing. Schools are not testing centers for COVID-19 right now. But if we are required to have every student have a negative COVID test in order to attend, clearly we'll have to have systems in place to help you as parents get those testing results. So stay tuned for that information. But I am hopeful that our region of Suffolk County does not become a hotspot, and we will not need to comply with that executive order from the governor. But we will see as the cold and flu season progresses. We need to talk about opening the valve, and we will be doing so at the board meeting that is scheduled for next Thursday, the 15th. Our board meetings take place in the middle school auditorium using socially distant opportunities. We need to make sure that we keep everyone healthy at our meetings. And there's also an outstanding executive order from the governor's office indicating that we can't have attendance of more than 50 individuals. That is still the case since he originally gave the order. The order has been renewed every 30 days as it's set to expire. So for indoor events, we are limited to 50 participants. That is inclusive of the board and it would be great if people calling me knew I was doing a video call, but there you go. 50 people includes the board and the administration, includes our student representative, includes those that we are inviting to recognize for accomplishments. So the public is limited to the number of 50. So for this Thursday's meeting, I encourage you, if you have a question you'd like to pose to the Board of Education, please attend. If you simply want to hear the discussion, we live stream all of our meetings. You just need to go to the homepage of the website and click the live stream, and you can hear everything we discuss and have to say. If you certainly have a question that you want to address to the board, we have 2 opportunities to do that within a public meeting. But if you're just interested to hear in our discussions, I would invite you to remain home, remain comfortable, remain in your sweats, perhaps with your favorite ice cream, and watch our board meeting. But we will be talking about opening the valve. The board is aware that we're looking to gradually introduce new aspects of attendance. So things you can expect to hear about at the secondary level will be those Wednesdays that we're taking off, perhaps taking a look at that, perhaps bringing students in on Wednesdays and shifting our deep cleaning to after school hours, which will require some effort. But that's a conversation that's going to be had. Looking at our 6th grade is a conversation that's going to be had. 6th grade is an elementary grade and an Elwood housed in a secondary building. So perhaps identifying our 6th grade as those who potentially will return to 100% first, and using that as a pilot to see how it might work in the remainder of the middle school and potentially the high school. These are conversations we'll be having. No decisions have yet been made. We're looking to explore. We're looking to use the information that we have to make informed decisions. And I'm certainly looking for the input from the Board of Education. And a public meeting is a good time to have these discussions because we get to have input from the community and get to hear varying viewpoints. We look forward to that. We have members of our community who feel that all students should return 100% of the time without any accommodation. I've certainly heard from members of the community who feel that the precautions that we're taking with masks and distancing and barriers are unnecessary, and that is their belief, that we should return to our typical procedures. And then we have a number of families who don't feel schools should be open and our learning should be 100% virtual. And we have about 15% of our students learning in that capacity right now. So we really have 2 varied ends of the spectrum. So we know that whatever decisions we make will not be satisfactory to 100% of our population. So what we are doing is trying to make informed decisions that serve the greatest capacity of need possible while keeping students, faculty, and staff healthy and safe. So those are the conversations that will take place Thursday. I've heard from a number of parents. We've had some great conversation over the phone. We've had some good email exchanges, but I really look forward to engaging with the community and the Board of Education on Thursday about opening the valve just a bit, and talking about incremental measures for doing so. You know, we had a good learning experience last Friday. We had our first positive case reported by the Department of Health, first reported by the parents. So thank you, parents, for being transparent and disclosing information when it comes to your attention. It was better to hear from the parents so we could respond immediately rather than waiting to hear from the Department of Health later in the day. Department of Health is notified by any positive COVID test in Suffolk County, and they initiate contact tracing. But when it involves a school district and we become aware of the reports, our actions come first, and we need to act immediately when we learn of positive cases. So when we learned of a positive case Friday morning, we began our own contact tracing investigation, which we're required to do by the Department of Health. And we identified close contacts, and that is a clear definition I provided to you in prior letters, as well as proximate contacts. And that's the part that becomes a bit confusing to parents. A close contact is a person who has been within 6 feet for a prolonged period of time without a mask. That's a close contact, sharing the opportunity for exchange of respiratory droplets. That's how COVID-19 is transferred. Those are close contacts. Those are the people most at risk. Department of Health also defines proximate contacts of people who have basically shared airspace, been in the same closed environment with or without mask. You're considered a proximate contact if you have been proximate to a person who is now tested positive for COVID-19. So we had a lot of those, even though we have all the precautions in our buildings with distancing, with barriers, with masks. We still had a number of students, faculty, and staff members over 60 who were either close or proximate contacts. So we had to have difficult conversations with parents, with faculty, with students directly to explain how they would need to quarantine for 14 days. And they went, and they certainly obliged them. And let me clear something up. Make no mistake, a direction from the Department of Health to quarantine for 14 days doesn't just mean staying home from school. It means quarantining within your home. So for the students that were socializing over the weekend, that is a violation of the quarantine, a violation of Department of Health directive, and can come with great penalty. So we ask that if a quarantine is necessary, we have a full understanding of what quarantining means. It means not leaving your home. It means not exposing others to potential illness. And that's the reason for it, to prevent spread within our community. But then the Department of Health did their investigation based upon the information we provided to them. And I explained this a bit in my very lengthy phone call you got earlier in the week. And what that was they look at every aspect of the case. What classrooms? What were the square footage of the classrooms? What were the height of the ceiling? What were the ventilation systems within those classrooms? Were the windows open or closed? Were the students wearing masks? Were the students behind barriers? How far apart were the desks? And because we have been so steadfast in our belief of keeping everyone safe and healthy and have so many preventative systems in place, after the Department of Health completed their investigation on Tuesday, they indicated that quarantine would not be necessary for anyone other than the student who tested positive and those who were close contacts for an extended period of time while on the school bus. Everyone else was able to return immediately to our school buildings. It's because of the precautions we've been taking. This is why when we talk about increasing our capacity, meaning bringing more students back, we have to pause. We have to pause and evaluate. We don't have the space nor the staff to bring every secondary student back using that 6 feet of social distance. We don't. Had we had 100% of students in last Friday with a positive case, the number of students that would have been close or proximate contact would have doubled and would have been over 100. When the Department of Health asked our question, was there at least 6 feet of appropriate social distancing between students, our answer would have been no. So it is very likely that rather than only one child needing to quarantine based on this positive case, it would have been over 100 students who would have to quarantine for 2 weeks. So there are some factors we really have to look at closely. Until the guidance regarding quarantining changes, or until the guidance regarding 6 feet of distance changes, we really have to very carefully examine what we're doing and when we do it. I had a meeting with the Department of Health last week where Dr. Gregson Pickett, who serves as the county physician on the Department of Health, happens to be an Elwood parent. Children recently graduated from John Glenn High School, so very familiar with our district. He made a comment that surprised me. He said that the distancing has been determined by some medical professionals to be even more important than the mask wearing. We have to consider what the medical community is telling us. And if that's a piece of the puzzle, we have to be very careful about bringing students back that would require us to close that distance. The high school and the elementary school, the middle school and the elementary school are different because of the research. Children under 10, the research is indicated from the medical community, spread the virus at far less a percentage and a rate than those above 10. So we are looking at our elementary students and our secondary students differently because of that research. And we've made accommodations at the elementary buildings differently than at the secondary buildings because of that research. So we have to be very careful about using the information we have to guide our decisions. That said, let me be 100% clear. Our goal is to have 100% of our students back in our buildings 100% of the time. Absolutely. We, as a district administration, board, and faculty, we are as frustrated as any parent might be about our inability to be back to normal. We would love to open the doors the way we did last September and implement all the same best practices and strategies for learning that you are accustomed to, that have helped our district and our faculty attain levels of excellence that others aspire to. We really would love to do that, but we won't do it until we know we can do it very safely and keeping everyone's health in mind. A few other things, now that I've been very long-winded and you may have had to pause the video several times for a break. As part of the CARES Act, the federally funded CARES Act, our school food service director, Mrs. Pugh, and Mrs. Dunkel, our business official, made the necessary accommodations for us to apply for the CARES Act funding to have it implemented for the Elwood School District. What that means, and you've received 2 letters on this, but there may be some confusion, is that all lunch service is free for every child every day. You need not have any economic needs expressed to the district. You need not provide any forms. You need not provide any applications. Lunch service is free for every student every day through the end of the calendar year, and we will see if we can reapply to go beyond that. But through December 31st, there is no need to have any concern about the cost of lunch service within the school district. Everyone is entitled to a free lunch. We don't have that many students taking advantage of that right now, and I think it's because of some of the confusion. So I want to make it very clear, 100% free, 100% of the time through December 31st. Now, if your child is looking for a snack or a special beverage, yes, we still have to pay for those. But as far as the basic lunch service, it's free for all. For those families that do qualify for free or reduced lunch, we ask you to continue to provide those documents that we need to help you apply so that your benefits can continue beyond December 31st. And will help to identify our demographics correctly for the State Education Department. I think that is all of the topics I wanted to cover with you. It's been great to see some after-school activities begin again, whether they're in a virtual environment through our clubs and organizations or in person. Those of you that have student athletes at the high school, you know that we began off-season workouts using small groups in socially distant manners as a way to begin opening the valve of our athletic department. We're looking to do the same with some extracurricular activities, so expect those announcements very soon. But we are very happy that our teachers, our staff have found ways to continue to engage with our students in virtual settings, and we look forward to making the transition back to live settings when we can. Lots of good things happening in the Elwood School District, lots of progress being made, really getting a lot of good positive feedback from parents, and we appreciate when we hear that. And when those of you bring concerns forward, please know that we are addressing them as well. Our reopening plan, we described as fluid in nature. So I guess the metaphor of opening the valve makes sense. It was written in pencil. we knew that we would have to make changes once the year was going. We had the opportunity to observe and evaluate all of our systems and programs. So we will continue to do that, and we will continue to make modifications to make sure that we are acting in the best interest of all of our students, those who are here, those who are learning virtually, and those who are part of a hybrid program. So again, I hope this message finds you healthy and safe. I hope you are looking forward to enjoying the 3-day weekend. A student asked me earlier today, I know we're closed Monday, but does that mean we have to log on virtually? No. Holidays are still holidays in our buildings and in our virtual space as well. So please enjoy the 3-day weekend. Hopefully the weather will hold up for some fall spirits and activities, and hopefully at least one of the New York football teams will manage to win a game this season. Have a wonderful rest of the day, and please, again, any questions or concerns, don't hesitate to reach out to your child's teacher, the building administration, or the team here at district office. We look forward to seeing you soon.